What's up, Buttercup? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a non-spoilery review of The Foxwife by Yangzse Choo. This is a perfect 5-star historical fantasy mystery set in 1908 China and Japan. We have two main characters, Snow, a kitsune, or as Westerners would say, a fox shapeshifter, and Bao, an older gentleman that's a private detective. Snow is secretive and doesn't like to interact with humans, but she's a mother out for revenge for her lost child. She is on a hunt for a murderer, which takes her all over China and to Japan, while Bao follows behind her, confused as to what's going on, but still on the trail and absolutely fascinated because he has some connections with kitsunes as well from childhood. The blurb attached to this novel is completely accurate. We love to see that, and describes the story well without giving too much away. The book does start off slow, but I didn't mind at all because I was fully invested in Snow and Bao from the beginning. I actually read the author's note before jumping into the novel, which I think really helped me fully immerse myself in the mythology of the kitsunes, the early 1900s of China and Japan, and overall the history and vibe going into this novel. As the blurb states, there's murder, child death, abandonment, and other very serious topics, so please keep that in mind. This isn't a lighthearted historical fantasy mystery. Not only are we talking about vengeance and murder and various abuses on children and women, you also see the atrocities happening to the poor during this time in China. But I do appreciate the author's willingness about writing the historical facts of this period, because I don't think sugarcoating it or not including it at all in a historically leaning novel is helpful. Yes, it's considered historical fantasy, but this is still historical fiction with a little bit of fantasy because of the kitsunes. So know that going in. If any of that makes you uncomfortable, probably not the book for you. However, like I said, I think it's important to showcase history and how it was. We must remember and learn from history so we don't forget what human beings are capable of, and so we don't repeat history. The writing of The Foxwife is absolutely beautiful and full of love and emotion. I cried quite a few times because I was so incredibly moved by the story and the writing style. I usually don't like when a novel has first person and third person point of view, but the writer does an amazing job that I barely noticed after a couple of chapters. I did have to get used to it, but I was, like I said, very immersed in this story, and therefore I didn't mind at all. I thought she did a very great job. And this is a fantastic example of knowing the rules of writing and how to create an impactful story and intriguing characters, and then breaking the rules, so to speak, and doing it superbly. It can absolutely be done well. It takes a lot of hard work and knowledge, and this novel is a prime example of that. I was so pulled into the story and felt for Snow and Bao that it did not matter at all with the POV changes, and it shifted often since it's dual point of view, and Bao's always right behind her. So you're going to have Snow, Bao, so on and so forth. And yes, there are times where I think in the beginning it's slower because there's a setup and because you're getting used to the changes back and forth between chapters. The chapters are relatively short, they're not too long. I think the writer did a fantastic job with this story and these characters. I absolutely loved Snow, and I was fascinated by many of the side characters, and there were even some that I just couldn't stand, but that is great writing. I highly recommend The Foxwife. I wanted to keep this non-spoilery because I want you to read it and appreciate it. So let me know in the comments if you've read this book before. If not, go read it. I actually got this book from the library. I'm so glad that it was available at my library. And when I have the money, I will absolutely be buying a copy for my bookshelf. Thank you so much for watching my short and sweet book review on The Foxwife by Yangzse Choo. I will see you in the next review. Bye!